Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Margaret, or Margaret Corleone Blues. This is a video I've been wanting to make for a really long time. I was going to do it for his birthday and then a lot of stuff happened and I never got around to it. So we are finally doing this. It's your dreams come true. You get to hear me gush about John Belushi for an entire video. Well, just what everyone wanted, not really. So today I'm going to be going through his IMDb list and giving you my honest thoughts about every one of his movies. Let's go. I'm not going to go into super in-depth analysis of all these movies, but I'm going to give you a few lines of why I like it, some things I like, some things I might not like. First movie on his IMDb page is National Lampoon's Lemmings. Okay, first off, real quick, look at this shirt. Is this not the best shirt you've ever seen in your life? This is not the best shirt you've ever seen in your life. I got it from Works. You should sponsor me and send me a bunch more of your John Belushi stuff. I also have a pillow with it. So, yeah. So, first off, here's my pillow. I also got it from Works. Works, I don't know. But first off, we are going to talk about National Lampoon's Lemmings. So, I love Lemmings. This is a parody of Woodstock and also like a satire of the whole hippie movement. Woodstock was supposed to be like the celebration of life. This is supposed to be a celebration of death, and the lemmings are preparing to commit mass unalivement. Yeah, John is great in this. This is also like parodies not only Woodstock but also a lot of the singers that participated in Woodstock. So this is where John Belushi's Joe Cocker impression started. He does Lonely at the Bottom as Joe Cocker, and he's amazing in it. He's also like the person who comes out before all the singers and announces them, and he's so cute, and I love him, and this really shows how talented he is. And John plays bass in this, so that's like my heart. I play bass, John plays bass, soulmates. My heart sings John play bass, and he plays bass shirtless, and I enjoy that a lot for reasons. He looks good. So yeah, I really like Lemmings. It's fun. I might watch it later. And he has a beard, and he looks really hot with the beard. He looks really good in this one. Lemmings is great, especially if you're familiar with 60s music and Woodstock and all that stuff. It's Chevy Chase is in it as well, and Christopher Guest is in it too. Well, another fun fact, Meatloaf was John's understudy for Lemmings, so that's pretty cool. Before, and because it was a tour, and then they did off-Broadway, and when they were on tour, Jim Steinman, who like collabed with Meatloaf, they actually started writing Bat Out of Hell, the album, when they were on tour together. So thank you, John Belushi, for Bat Out of Hell, because I love that album. Okay, next is Tarzoon, Shame of the Jungle. This is like the only thing of John's. I've never seen any of it. This is a X-rated animated movie, and I think it was National Lampoon. And I think some of the Murrays are in this too, but yeah, I have not seen this, so I don't have an opinion on this. I'm really sorry. This is like the only thing of John's. I've never seen any of it. Next is The Beach Boys. It's okay. I've not seen this whole thing, but I've seen John's part. So it's kind of like a mockumentary about the Beach Boys with Brian Wilson. And John and Dan go to Brian Wilson's house, and they give him a ticket for not going surfing, and they make him go surfing in the ocean. It's kind of unhinged, and so I love Brian Wilson. I have not seen the whole movie, so I don't really have an opinion on the whole movie, but I like that scene. I love Brian Wilson, and of course I love John and Dan, so seeing them all together in some silly goofy thing is enjoyable for me. I'll probably watch the whole movie eventually, but okay, the next is The Rutles, All You Need Is Cash. I actually filmed a reaction to this like months ago, and I never edited it, so expect that at some point before I die. I don't know when. The Rutles is great. It's Eric Idle and Michael Palin of Monty Python, and it's a documentary of the Beatles, and it's so funny, and the music's actually really good. And I mean, it's Eric Idle, who is like one of the funniest people ever, so you know it's good. And all the Beatles loved the movie. George Harrison actually has a cameo in it, and John Lennon loved it, Paul McCartney loved it, Ringo liked it, but he said it was so accurate that it kind of made him sad when like towards the end when the band breaks up. And yeah, he said it was kind of sad to watch, but all the Beatles loved it. It's really funny. I think especially if you like the Beatles, I highly recommend it. It's super John has a cameo in it. John's really hot in it. That's his character is like a record exec that like everybody is terrified of, and he's like really arrogant. He's like wearing like this like white turtleneck, and he looks good in it. He has a short role in it. Dan also has a cameo. Lorne Michaels, Tom Davis, and Al Franken. Gilda's at the very end, so I recommend it if you're like a fan of like those people. Definitely. Okay, next is Animal House. Oh, I love Animal House so much. Of course, I love Animal House. So what do I like about this movie? I really like that this movie is funny, but ultimately at its core, I think that one thing that made Harold Ramis such a good writer is that I think something that Second City, taking classes with Second City, has taught me to appreciate is comedy coming from realness. And for me, I feel like Animal House at its heart is a story about a group of friends just banding together against, it's just like that common story of like a group of misfits coming together. Oh, I love them, and just standing up for each other and just going against their oppressors, and I love it. I love the friendships in this movie. I think that, I mean, Bluto is obviously my favorite part of this movie, of course. I mean, him in the toga is like the hottest thing ever. I love Bluto in the toga. I don't know why I didn't wear my college sweater. I have this entire outfit. I have pants like that, and I literally bought black Converse because of Bluto. I already had a bunch of colored Converse. I have like green, purple, pink, blue, but I was like, I'm buying black Converse, not because it's a neutral color, but because Bluto wears them like the entirety of Animal House. So I love Bluto. He's so cute. He's like a golden retriever. I love him. I wanted to marry him. I want to push Mandy out of the car and be Mrs. Blutarski. Bluto, you're my husband. You're not Mandy's husband. She can leave. She can leave. I love you, Bluto. He's so funny. The toga scene is like, I just want to be there. I just want to be in the toga scene. Like, how do you not be in that scene? And then my other favorite scene is after all the crazy stuff with them going on the road trip with the girls from the other school, and then they come back, and Flounder's crying, and then Bluto's comforting him, and then it's just D-Day, Otter, Flounder, and Bluto. Those are my 4 favorite characters, and them just, like, comforting each other, and I just love the friendship in this movie. That's, like, and, like, Flounder, they didn't even want him to join, and now they're helping him, and I just love this movie. I know it's considered like a gross, like lowbrow comedy, but I love how it's really at its core about a group of friends coming together against people who don't like them. Okay, so next is Goin South, and I have to be honest and say that is my least favorite of all of John's movies. And sorry, John, and I don't know if you like that one much either. Yeah, his role in it, that's like his least substantial role in like any movie. He does a little bit. He's like Christopher Lloyd's sidekick. They're both like police officers in the Wild West. And yeah, he just does the least amount of things. Apparently him and Jack Nicholson's a star and the director. Apparently they didn't get along too well on set. So Jack kept cutting John's role down. So, but I mean, it's an okay movie overall, and has like Danny DeVito and Christopher Lloyd when they're young. So that's exciting to see, but overall, just not my favorite. Next one is IMDb is Things We Did Last Summer. And this was a promo for, I think, season 4. Oh, yeah, season 4 of SNL. And so it has, like, Gilda doing stuff, Garrett doing stuff, I think Bill doing stuff. And it has Jake and Elwood. It has clips of the Blues Brothers shows at Universal Amphitheater. I didn't say that correctly. Universal Amphitheater. I can't talk right now. I'm hungry. But, yeah, this... Obviously, it's amazing because it's clips from a Blues Brothers show. So I love this movie, 10 out of 10. Jake Blues, I love you, marry me, Jake. We're already married. Mwah, love you. Okay. Next, Old Boyfriends. John has a very small part in this movie, but it's very good. And it's, like, probably the biggest look at him in a dramatic role. And he is amazing in it. And... so this is about Talia Shire, who she's like a psychiatrist, and she like has like a psychotic break, and she goes hunting down all her ex-boyfriends from her life. And John was her like high school boyfriend who like humiliated her in front of the whole school. So she's out for revenge against him. And Talia Shire is my favorite actress. I don't know if you guys knew that, but she is. So seeing her and John on screen together, and yeah, love it. And she's so lucky she gets to kiss him and some other stuff that I'm very, very jealous of. And yeah, John is just so cute in this. He's kind of a jerk, but he's still so likable. He's just like, I love him. He's like mentally trapped in like his high school days. So yeah, I love him in this movie. He sings 3 songs. His character has a band, and Murph from the Blues Brothers, from Murph and the Magic Tones, is the keyboardist in his band. And he sings, what does he sing? He sings Jailhouse Rock again. He sings You Belong to Me. I can't remember who originally sang that, but I know Patsy Cline and Dean Martin's version's the best. And he sings Tush by ZZ Top. And yeah, he's amazing. It's worth it to see him sing. His role, he has maybe like 10 minutes of screen time, and he's just in like one part in the middle, but it's worth seeing. And Buck Henry's in it too, which is kind of interesting. But I really feel like this is such a great little intro to see more of his dramatic style. And it's kind of sad because this came out like right after Animal House, so it didn't do well because people were going in expecting seeing him act like Bluto, and then when he does really good acting like a normal person, people are mad, and that's really sad because he deserves all the praise to be in the movie. And you know, I love Animal House, but I wish people would have given him a chance to be more than just Bluto to them, as much as I love Bluto, because John was so much more than that. And yeah, also this movie was directed by a woman, which was a big deal for the 70s, Joan Tewksbury. So for all you John Belushi hated women people, he was on a movie directed by a woman, and she went and personally asked him to be in the movie, and he said yes. And she loved him, and she had nothing but amazing things to say about working with him. So if John Belushi really hated women that much, I don't think he would have been a movie directed by a woman. Thank you. Okay, SNL. I don't really want to get into SNL because there's like a million episodes. Some of my favorites though: Samurai, especially Samurai Hitman, Cheeseburger, of course. Anything where he sings. The one where he does a cold open and he like holds the room, like not like holds it hostage, but basically he won't say Live from New York at Saturday night until he's given a list. He gives like a list of demands, and he's like does not want to open the show until they're met. And yeah, I love that one. Just so many good ones. Okay, 1941. This movie's a hot mess in a good way. I love this movie. I genuinely do. It was a mess though, and I think Steven Spielberg just needed to tone down some things, and it would have been a lot better. And I think probably, I remember seeing a review that was like, when the movie came out, it said it was like a pinball machine where everything was going. It is kind of like that. I think he should have made Wild Bill Kelso just like the star of it, and kind of made it about Wild Bill Kelso. It is like I would say little Wild Bill Kelso towards the end becomes like the main character, and he's the best character and the sexiest character and just amazing, and I love him, and he's my other husband besides Bluto and Jake. All of John Belushi's characters are my husbands. What was I saying? Yeah, Wild Bill Kelso is great. Dan's pretty good in it. There's a lot of cameos. Christopher Lee, like everyone, John Candy, Tim Matheson, like everyone who was everyone. Oh, like half the cast of Jaws. The opening scene, it's like redoes this opening from Jaws, except it's a Japanese sub instead of a shark that comes up out of the water. And the girl that does her, like the famous getting eaten by a shark scene at the beginning of Jaws does that scene again. So that's pretty great, and the music is amazing. John Williams could do no wrong. John Williams could not write a bad song if he tried, and he said that the march from this movie, one time, he said that was his favorite march he ever wrote. Over the Imperial March? Damn John Williams. But yeah, John's spectacular in this movie. I love Wild Bill Kelso. It really makes me sad John blamed himself for the failure of this movie, when he's literally the best part of this movie. John, stop being so hard on yourself. I should take that advice for myself too. And Wild Bill was the best part of this movie, and he cracks me up, but I just love how aggressive he is. He just throws some guy on the ground and spits on him like, oh look, a baby wolf. Okay, oh my gosh, we have 3 more left. Okay, next is the Blues Brothers. I literally could talk about this movie all day. There's so many things I love about it. everything. I mean, it's literally my favorite movie ever. I love this movie more than words can even say. It's really hard to put into words, but I think we could be here all day if I talked about my thoughts about this movie. So I'm just gonna focus in on like two main things. I feel like the heart of the Blues Brothers is really John and Dan's friendship and how they put that into Jake and Elwood, and then the music and, you know, continuing the love for blues music and introducing it to younger generations, all that stuff. Yeah, I really think those are the two hearts of the Blues Brothers. I'm gonna cry if I talk about the Blues Brothers. I love everything. I love Jake. Jake is my dream man. Jake is the sexiest man ever. I love Jake Blues. I love Jake Blues. I love Jake Blues. I love Jake Blues. Let's see, what else do I like about this movie? I love Jake Blues. I love Jake Blues. I love Jake. I love Joliet Jake. I love Jacob Papa George. That's Jake's birth name. I love Jacob Papa George. I love Jake Blues. I love Jake. I love Joliet Jake. I love Jake. I love Jake. I love Jake. I also love Jake. I also love Jake. And I love Jake Blues too. I really like Jake Blues. I love Jake Blues. What else do I like about this movie? Jake Blues. Jake Blues. Jake Blues. Jake. 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 Jake, 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 Jake. I've said his name so many times it's starting to sound weird now. Jake, 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 Jake. Those are my favorite things about the movie. All the songs. Oh, She Caught the Katy is like their version of that song is like my favorite song ever. Jake is my favorite character ever. He is my husband. We're married. I love Jake. 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 I want to say also, I really like the humor in this movie. I feel like I've watched a lot of reactors react to it, and they just are confused because I feel like a lot of people think that comedy has to be like people just cracking jokes all the time and being a punchline and stuff like that. But I think there's so many different forms of comedy and so many different ways to write comedy and so many different places that comedy comes from. I think a lot of the humor around the Blues Brothers comes from Jake and Elwood kind of being in their own worlds, and then a lot of really ridiculous stuff happening. It's kind of like Center and Eccentrics, where crazy things or crazy people are around you and you're not really like reacting to it, and that's kind of like the comedy. So like the Bluesmobile flipping around, and then Carrie Fisher with the bazooka, like she tries to blow them up and they just brush themselves off and it doesn't even faze them. Like that's where a lot of the comedy comes from, and I love that. It's not necessarily just cracking jokes, it's like physical environmental comedy, which I really like. And then I just love this movie, and I love Jake. I love Jake Blues. I really love Jake Blues. I don't know if you knew that, but I love Jake Blues. Like, he's just the best. He's the best. He's the best. I love Jake. I love Jake. I just really love him. And it's annoying because I feel like most people like Elwood, so then I always have to defend why I like Jake. And I'm like, he's sexy. He's sexy, and he's grumpy, and he's hot. He can sing, and he has beautiful big brown eyes. The prettiest eyes I've ever seen in my life. And beautiful black curly hair. And a beautiful singing voice. And he's just his nose and his eyelashes. I'm embarrassing myself. Jake is sexy. Jake is beautiful. John Belushi is beautiful, and I love him. He's beautiful. He's so beautiful, I want to die. He's so beautiful. I don't know what I'm saying. John Belushi's the most beautiful man I've ever seen in my life, and that's just the facts here. That's the facts here, people. That's what the takeaway from this video is. I feel like the hearts of the movie are the music and the love for the music, and Jake and Elwood's friendship representing John and Dan's friendship. That's what I think are the two of the most special things about the movie, and I think that's why this movie can never be replicated, because Jake and Elwood this could never be like remade, because Jake and Elwood are literally John and Dan, and then the music, this is like a I don't know what the word is. This is like a piece of like memorabilia from this time, and this music, you can't have somebody play Aretha Franklin in like a remake. You can't have somebody be Ray Charles. This movie's just, it's just such a special movie for so many different reasons. And then there's some dark elements, like how the penguin was obviously like abusive to them, and they're scared of her, and they look like poor little boys being, oh my gosh, I'm gonna like go crazy if I talk about the Blues Brothers. I will make so many Blues Brothers videos. Just tell me what Blues Brothers topics you want to see me talking about. Okay. Continental Divide. I love this movie so much, and I hate every single last critic who said John Belushi was not handsome enough to play a romantic lead. All of you can leave and never talk to me because you suck. And people were so awful to John about this movie. It makes me so sad because I love this movie. Some of it's cheesy. It's like that 80s cheese, but like John is just so good in it. He just makes the characters real and less cheesy, and you just cannot help but fall madly in love with Ernie Suchak. And I feel like he's too good for now because she's a little mean to him, and I would just love him. I would love him forever, and I would never be mean to him. It's kind of like that enemies to lovers trope, classic. Lots of love for Chicago. And John was just so proud of himself for this movie, and he was really proud of it. And it just breaks my heart that it was never given the love it deserved, and people didn't want to give him the chance, and it sucked. And I love this movie. This is one of my favorite movies. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. And I'm not one for rom-coms. I rarely like rom-coms. The only other one that I can think of that I like super love is My Big Fat Greek Wedding, because I'm Greek, of course. It's like my entire personality besides loving Jake Blues. And finally, Neighbors. Neighbors is the weirdest freaking movie ever. It feels like a fever dream. This movie, the thing about this movie is that it was a lot different. The book was kind of like, it's based on a book, and the book was kind of like a dark comedy. And this was supposed to be like a dark comedy. But the director didn't really have experiences directing comedy, so then it kind of became a hot mess. But... and it makes me sad thinking about that this movie was kind of like the final straw for John relapsing and the environment on set. But I really feel like this movie is very special because nobody could purposely make something this weird. It's just so freaking weird, and there's kind of this charm to it. And I love John as Earl, Enid, whatever you say your name. Just letting you know, Earl's my husband, not yours. John's so cute in it. And I love Earl, and everybody's so mean to him, and I just want to fight them. And Dan in this movie is terrifying. I'm so scared of Vic. If I saw Vic in a dark alley, I would run for my life. I would be like, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. Sorry, Vic. I'm scared of Vic. I also like the minimalist sets. I think this was filmed on Staten Island, like The Godfather. Yay! More Coppola, Belushi, Multiverse of Madness. I don't know if it was filmed like near the Godfather house or anything. I don't know. I don't even know who I am anymore. Look at this. Look at Jake. Right under my boobs. Yeah, there's a very minimalisticness about Neighbors that makes it feel like a play. And yeah, just the way that the sets are and the way it's directed and kind of just the amount of characters and the small, it only takes place at the two houses. I could easily see this being in a play, and I think that's a really cool feel to it. I also like the soundtrack. They play the Doors in it. Hello, I love you. She tell me your name. Hello, I love you. Da, 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 da. And this was sadly John's last movie, and he was not happy with it, and it makes me so sad. I love John so much. I just really hope that John knows how much he's still making people happy, and how many people like me, I love you, John, your biggest fan, maybe, I don't know, probably. I mean, if you include Judy and Dan and stuff like that, I'm not, but I might be up there as a biggest fan. We'll see. I remember reading he was really worried about dying because he didn't want to die when people, I'm gonna cry, when people saw him as a joke and not a person. And I feel like now there are so many people And he was afraid people weren't even going to remember his name was John. They were just going to know him as Belushi or whatever. But I can say there's me and so many people that I know, and I can say so many people love him and know him and genuinely love these movies that he was unhappy with. I did a little post on his birthday way back in January about how much John means to me, and it's really hard to put into words. He's just, I'm gonna cry if I don't want to be too gushy because I'm gonna cry. Maybe I'll do a video about how much I love John and why I love him so much anyway. But I just really hope wherever he is now, he is watching and seeing so many people, even people like me who weren't even alive when he was, see how much we love him and how much of a difference he's made in our lives and how much he makes us smile. And I hope he's proud of that. That's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I kind of want to do this for Al Pacino too. I could make more videos on like all of his movies and talk about them for hours, and I love Jake Blues, and I love Jake Blues. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know in the comments what your favorite John movie is, how you feel about all these movies, who your favorite character he played in, what's your favorite skit, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, oh, let me know if you want me to do like a John Belushi merch video, because I've had people ask that before, and I just haven't gotten around to it yet, so let me know what you want to see. Okay, anyway, I hope you guys have a great day, and I hope you will like, comment, and subscribe. And of course, little Jake and I say bye. I love Jake Blues.